All right, in this video we're going to be talking about the Unit 6A Quiz 2 review. So hopefully you're following along with me so you'll be able to understand what each question is trying to say, and hopefully you'll learn something. So let's go and get started. All right, the first thing you're looking at is a whole bunch of information dealing with questions 1 through 6. So we're talking about John, we're talking about Paul, Sam, and Davis. So we have 4 people that we're going to be chatting with, or answering questions about, I'm sorry. So from here, just match up the question to the person. So let's say, if John works 37 hours, what will his weekly gross be? All right, so looking at John, notice that he gets paid $13 an hour. All right, so if you remember, overtime equals uh, anything over 40 hours. All right, so overtime is anything over 40 hours. Now, the thing is with John here, he only worked 37 hours. All right, so that means everything is just regular time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 37 hours and I'm going to times that by his hourly pay, which is 13. And so when I do that, I'm going to get his gross pay, which ends up being $481. All right. Now for the next question, he now is working 45 hours. All right. So going back to what we talked about in the first question, overtime is anything over 40 hours. So what I'm going to do is, if you remember, I'm going to split 45. So there's my 2 arrows. So what we have is, this represents 40 hours of regular time, and the leftover 5 hours, that would be overtime. All right, so 40 is overtime. I'm sorry, 40 is regular time and 5 is overtime. Now, the regular time is $13 an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 13 and I'm going to multiply it by 40. So these are the 2 things I'm going to do, because all this is regular time RT. Okay, now the overtime is different. So off to the side, what I'm going to do is, he's making $13 an hour, but I'm going to times that by 1.5. Because remember, overtime is most likely 1.5, which is time and a half. And when I do that, I get $19.50. So that means he's making $19.50 for overtime hour. So I'm then going to multiply by 5 because he worked 5 hours. So when I do the math, I end up with, let's see, 40 times 13, that ends up being 520. I'm then going to add it to whatever 5 times 19 and a half is, which is $97.50. So when I do the math, and when I add those 2 together, he gets $617.50 gross pay. Okay? Next one. Sam was getting paid semi-monthly, but his owner changed to bi-weekly. Well, semi-monthly is 24, and whenever you see bi-weekly is 26. So this is actually a 3-step problem. The first step is converting his gross pay to semi-monthly. That's step 1. The next thing is to convert his annual pay to bi-weekly. That's step 2. And then we need to compare the gross pays. All right, so going back, notice that, let's see, Sam is getting paid $55,000. All right, so here we go. Step 1. I'm going to take $55,000 and I'm going to divide that, let's see, divide that by 24. So when I do that, I get an answer of $2,291.67. Now remember, this is semi-monthly. Okay? Now the next thing I need to do is I need to divide it by 26, because that's what bi-weekly is. And so when I do that, I get $2,115.38. Now remember, this is bi-weekly. Okay? So let me move this 24. Get away. All right, so these are my 2 numbers I'm dealing with. So what I have to do is find the difference between these 2 numbers. So for my step 3, I'm going to do 2291.67. I'm going to subtract that by 2,000 115.38. So when I do that, I get the difference of $176.29. Question number 4. In 1 week, Paul was able to fill 295 bags of feed. How much was his gross pay? Well, let's take a look at Paul. All right, let's see. Paul works in the back where he gets 50-pound bags. Okay. All right, so he gets 75 cents for every bag up to 300. Every bag over 300, he gets 90 cents. All right, so this is one of those, you might have to split it up depending on how much he produced. So let's see. He only was able to get 295. So he wasn't able to get more than 300. So with that being said, this is actually a pretty easy question. So we're going to take 295 bags and we're going to times that by 75 cents. And when we do that, we'll get an answer of $221.25. All right. Now, in the next week, he was able to add 415. Remember from the directions, 300 bags. That's what was the dividing point, so to speak. So if you remember from my visual learners, here, I'm going to split everything up. So this being $300 or 300 bags, and everything that's left over is 115. Now, also, if you remember that he gets 75 cents for every bag over 300, and then he gets an additional, let's see, 90 cents for every bag over. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers and get a number, and I'm going to multiply these two numbers, and then when I do that, I'm going to add them up. So when I do the math, 300 times 0.75, that ends up being 225, plus 115 times 0.90, that's 103.50. So when I add it all up, he got a grand total of $328.50 gross pay. All right, so for 1 week, Davis was able to sell $10,000 worth of feed to one customer and 25,000 feed worth to the other. All right, so how much was his gross pay? All right, so let's look at Davis's rules here. All right, Davis, let's see. He gets 3% commission. Oh, but he also gets a $200 base pay per week. All right, so that tells me right there it's kind of like a waitress. You have tips, and then you have his base pay. So we already know, because of the fact that he has a base pay, we are going to add $200. So $200 will be added. All right, so I'm just going to put that over there. So we got to add $200 to whatever we get. All right, so let's see what else. Okay, he sold $10,000 worth of feed to one customer and then 25 to another. Well, when I add them all up, I end up with, let's see, that's $35,000. So $35,000. But he gets 3% of that, so I'm going to multiply that by 0.03. And when I do that, I believe that's going to be 1,050. But again, let's bring this back in. I got to add $200 because that's his gross pay or his base pay. So when I do that, I get a grand total of $1,250. Okay. Now this next one here, let me clean this off. All right, so Dave is unemployed and has two job offers. Job A pays a weekly salary of $650, and Job B pays a monthly salary of $2,000. All right, so which is the higher paying job? All right, so what we have here is two jobs that are being compared, one on a monthly, the other one on a weekly. So what I want to do is, just to make life easy, I want to convert everything to a yearly. All right, so let's see, Job A. All right, so let's write this out here. Job A pays $650 every week. Well, I'm going to times that by 52, and when I do that, I get, let's see, what do I get? $33,800. All right, but Job B, let's see, they get paid $2,860, but he gets paid, let me put a smaller X, that'll bother me, monthly, so I'm going to times that by 12. So when I do that, I get 34,320. So at this point, we just look. 34,000 versus 33, which is a higher paying job? Well, that would be job B. Okay. Now, for this question here, we're figuring out Janet's pay stub. So let's go ahead and kind of pull out some information here. First off, 35,000 and getting paid monthly. So the first thing I got to do is I got to convert 35,520 to monthly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. So 35,520. I'm going to divide that by 12. And when I do that, I get a gross pay of 2,960. All right, so that's my gross pay right there. So I'm going to put this off to the side so you guys can take a note. 2,960. All right, let's keep reading. Let's see what else have we got. All right, so we have a whole bunch of percentages. All right, so first off is, let me go through this. All right, federal income tax is 12%, Social Security is 6.2, Medicare is 1.45, and then state is 4.5. All right, so let me add all this. So FIT, federal income tax, all right, that's 12%, so that's 0.12. I'm going to multiply by. Social Security will be 0.062. Medicare will be 0.0145. State will be 0.045. And then there was no local, so I'm just going to write NA for local. All right, so I'm going to multiply 2,960, I got dyslexic, by all these percentages. All right, so when I do that, let's see, FIT, federal income tax, ends up being $355.20. Social Security ends up being $183.52. This is going to bug me how it's bleeding over to each. There we go. Makes it look a little more better, or a little better. All right, Medicare ends up being $42.92. State ends up being $133.20. Oop, bled over again. That works. All right, and of course, local, there is no local tax, so that's going to be an NA. All right, now the next thing is medical. Now remember, medical is that weird question within a question, so let's read. It says medical insurance costs $9,696, and Janet pays 25% of the cost. All right, so I got to do a couple things here. First, 9,696, I'm going to times that by 0.25 because it's 25%. And when I do that, I get 2,424. All right. Now, that number represents her yearly responsibility. She's got to pay that monthly. And the reason I say monthly is because the problem is a month problem. So I'm going to divide that by 12. So when I do that, I get an answer of 202. All right. So 202. Now, if you keep reading, it says she has $50 transferred directly into her savings account. So she doesn't have any union dues, so that's going to be an NA. But she has $50. So I'm going to put $50 in the other category. So at this point in time, all we do now is a simple add and subtract. So I'm going to add all of these together, and I'm going to subtract them from 2960. And when I do that, I get an answer of $1,993.16. All right, moving on. Amanda has a savings account of credit union charges. All right, for every month her falls below 700. Her account 920. Okay, a lot of words, but actually pretty simple. She starts off with $920.25. We're subtracting $300 because she withdrew that, and then she's left with $620.25. But here's the thing. She's now in violation because the bank says she has to keep at least $700. So now she's going to be charged a $10 fee for 7 months. So apparently she didn't pay attention to her email notifications from her bank. So for 7 months she got charged $10. So that's 7 times 10. And when we do the math, we get 500. She's left with $550.25. So her bank will continue to drain her account until she gets everything taken care of. All right, so Stephanie invested $2,000 in a simple interest. All right, there it is. That's our simple interest. That's our buzzword. We're going to do that one. All right, so we have that's I, equals $2,000. We're going to times that by 0.02 at a rate of 7 years. So when I do the math, how much interest was earned? 280 bucks. Now the question is, what is the balance? Well, he made $280, and he started with $2,000. So when you add that up, 2,280 bucks is how much the bank account's worth now. So Jeremy Jeremy invested, question 11. Oh, here's another one, simple interest. So again, it's the I formula. So here we go. The I formula, again, that's I, is equal to, now we're at $10,000, parenthesis, 0.025, but notice that we have months. T has to be in years. So we have a situation where 25 months have got to be converted to years. Now you should, if you've been paying attention, know where I'm going with this. So do not put 25 at the end and tack it on, because you're saying 25 years. Can't do that. So in the calculator, we're going to do 25 divided by 12 because that's the most accurate way to do it. So when we do the math, our calculator tells us, and I say calculator because it's all calculator at this point, $520.83. That's how much interest was earned. So the balance is, remember, she made $520.83, but she started off with $10,000. So that means we're at $10,520.83. Question 12. Holly is 20 years old and she inherited $50,000 from her family. She does not really need the money right now, so she invested it and calculated 31%. Okay. Her plan is to leave the money until she's 55. All right. So how many years will it be invested? Again, let me kind of highlight. She's 20 years old, 55. So that is a, let's see, 55 years old. She's at 20, so that means we're dealing with a 35-year question. So 35 years, she'll have that money thrown in. All right, now what formula are we going to use? Let's see. There is a buzzword in there, and I think, oh, there it is, continuously. That is the, let's see, oh, where is it at? That's the PERC formula. All right, so that's the formula we're going to be using. So I'm going to not do that. All right, so I'm going to, let's see, using the PERC formula, it is B is equal to, she started with 50,000, 2, 3. We're going to do a little E there, and then we're also going to raise it to the power of, and I think I can do it with this, raise it to the power of, let's say, 0.031, and we're going to times that by 35 years. So when we do the work on this, the calculator tells us we have, oh, I'll put it over here, $147,971.99. Now the question is, what is that? Does that go here or does it go here? All right. Now the thing to remember, and that is this formula started with B. B stands for balance. So that means when you press enter, you're given the balance. Okay. So when it says how much interest was earned, well, that's when you do a simple subtraction problem. So the balance of the account is $147,971.99. We're going to subtract that by the initial 50,000, and when we do that, the difference will be the interest. So $97,971.99. That's how much interest was made. All right, question number 13. Sarah invests $6,000 in, let me highlight again. All right, and annually, up, compounded, up, there it is, semi-monthly. All right, so that is the big boy formula, this guy right here. All right, that's the formula we're using. So it's going to be B is equal to, started with 6,000, parenthesis, 1 plus, now I'm going to make this kind of weird because it's hard to do this with this typing here, 1.05 divided by semi-monthly, that's 24, close parenthesis. And then I'm going to raise it to the power of, raise it to the power of, let's see, 24, because that's semi-monthly, times 10. All right, so I'm going to type it in the calculator just like that. And when I do that, I get an answer of $9,887.18. Again, we go back to the question, and that is that balance or earned? Balance or earned? Balance or earned? Well, again, remember, see the B right there? See the B right there? Balance? There you go. Now the question is how much interest was earned? Well, again, $9,887.18. We're going to subtract that from the beginning, 6,000, and when we do that, we'll get our answer, which is $3,887.18. There we go. All right, Beth and Tom are street sweepers. Can't say that 3 times you mess up. For the city of Lawrenceville, they both get paid the same, but Beth wanted to go bi-weekly. All right, so wanted to get paid bi-weekly, and then Tom get a semi-monthly. All right, so let's go ahead and write this out here. So Beth is bi-weekly, which is 26. Tom, he's semi-monthly, that's 24. So how many more paychecks will Beth receive from Tom? Again, they're still getting paid the same, but Beth is just getting 2 more, but they're smaller. All right, so George contributes 5% to one of these questions, healthcare. This is a $91 deduction for me. So step 1, 3, 4. All right, so these questions here you should know at this point. So step 1, I'm going to write the proportion. So I'm going to try to do this with my mouse here. And I'm not going to do that color. 91 over 5. And 5 represents 5% equals x over 100. So when I cross multiply, I get 5x equals 9,000 or 9,100. Then I divide by 5. So when I do that, I'm going to go back to typing. I get $475. All right. Now $475 represents. I'm going to pause for a second. All right, so $475 is how much it costs to insure him per month. And remember, I'm going to highlight month because of the fact that it says monthly. So I'm going to take 475 and I'm going to times it by monthly, which gives me an answer of hold on, I wrote down the wrong answer. You guys are screaming at me at the 21,840. All right, so I knew that looked weird when I wrote that down. That wasn't this. Sorry, guys. You're probably yelling at me. I apologize. You might be saying, why don't you just make a new video? And the answer is no. I'm already too far in. All right, so step number 3 says, how much does George pay annually for his healthcare coverage? Well, he pays $91 every month. So very simply, I'm going to take $91 and I'm going to times it by monthly, which gives me George's contribution of $1,092. And then it says subtract George's contribution. So his healthcare is $21,840, and I'm going to subtract his contribution of $10,090 or $1,092. So when I do that, I get an answer of $20,748. So that's how much his employer pays. All right, so for question number 16, Bert's gross pay is $950. If you remember from the quiz from last week, I told you to take bi-weekly and go ahead and figure out the gross pay. So bi-weekly is what I'm dealing with. So $950, I'm going to times that by biweekly, which is 26. So when I do that, I get 24,700. Now, if you remember, I'm now going to take 24,700 and divide to figure out everything else. All right. So to find monthly, I'm going to take 24,700. I'm going to divide that by 12. For semi-monthly, I'm going to get 2,400. So divide that by 24, and then weekly, divide that by 52. So when I do the math, he's getting paid rounded to the nearest whole, $475. Monthly, $1,029, and then monthly, $2,058. Bev, a clerk at the Normalization Hotel, was paid weekly for medical insurance. All right, so this question is very similar to, let's see if I can find it. Very similar to this question right here. So same exact question, except it's just a standalone question. All right, so let's see. All right, so let's see. Let's read. All right, so this is how much it costs, and it's a bi-weekly. Well, that's 26, and she pays 15%. All right, so this question again very similar to last, and that is starting with 10,550. I'm going to times that by 15%. All right, so when I do that, I get an answer of $1,582.50. But that's what her responsibility is, and she gets paid bi-weekly. So I'm going to divide that by 26, and my answer is going to be $60.87. And lastly, the last page here, Joe bought a truck for $29,950. The TAVT is 6. So TAVT is very similar to sales tax. So 29,990. I'm going to times that by 0.065, and when I do that, the tax ends up being $1,949. This is around to the nearest whole. So if Joe wrote a check for the whole thing, basically 29,990, we're going to add that to 1949. So when we do the math, it's 31,939. All right. Jerry's a lineman for a local company. All right. So this question we've had before, but I put a little twist on that. Watch this. He earns $25 per hour, time and a half. But hey, I even threw in a double time. Wow. All right. So I'm really kind of screwing you up a little bit. All right. So let's read all this. He receives double time for any hours worked over 60 hours. All right. So let's kind of divide this up. First off, we know 70 hours is how many he worked. Regular time is 40 hours. All right, so this is regular time, RT. All right, and it says he works time and a half, but notice it says double time for any hours over 60 hours. He works 70, so that means over 60 hours would be 10. So this right here would be DT, double time, which means the overtime would have to be 20. And remember, 40, 20, 10 always goes back to 70. All right, keep that in mind. All right, so regular time, he gets paid 25 bucks an hour, 25. All right, now for overtime, that's going to be 1.5. So that'll be 25 times 1.5. That's overtime, which is 25 times 1.5. I believe that's 37.50. So this will be 37.50, and then double time. Well, that's easy. Double time. I'm going to do it anyway, so you can see it. 25 double time is when you just double it, which is times 2, which equals 50 bucks an hour. So he's making a whole bunch of money. Linemen do that. So if you can get into that, awesome. So very simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all these little branches here. So first thing I'm going to do is 40 times 25. I'm going to get a number, and I'm going to add that number to 20 hours of OT times 37.50, and then I'm going to add that to, oh, we got to scoot over a little bit, 50 times 10. Ooh, there you go, 50 times 10. So three things. So again, for my visual learners, this is what I did. 40 times 25, there it is. 20 times 37.50, there it is. 10 times 50, there it is. Add all that up, and when I do, I get an answer of 2,250. Let's see, he was paid 21.25, so obviously we know that this is not correct. No. So if the gross pay is not correct, how much does Jerry's boss owe him? So 22.50 is what he should have gotten paid, but he got paid 21.25, and that is a difference of $125. Alrighty, that's it. With work, hopefully you got all that. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.